Hey guys, this is your chapter 5, lesson 2 video notes, life in ancient Egypt. There's Miss Tickle creeping around in the background. I hope you like the intro slide Miss Hodges made here. You got a zombie and a vampire and a pumpkin lady and a happy unicorn. All right, so this section is going to be about the pharaohs, the religion of ancient Egypt. All right, so we break ancient Egypt into 3 distinct time periods, and they're very large time periods. The Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, and the New Kingdom. Our focus today is going to be on the Old Kingdom of Egypt. It rose around 2700 BC. The leaders of these dynasties in Egypt were called pharaohs. It's another name for a ruler. We saw emperors, and we saw in future times we'll see kings and queens and presidents, but these are what they called their leaders then. But the Egyptian people believed that the pharaoh was not only a king, but he was also one of the gods they worshipped. They had great responsibility as pharaoh. While they had a lot of wealth, it wasn't always the easiest life. They were praised for when things went well in Egypt, and they were blamed when things went poorly in Egypt. And your hot question in just a second, Mr. Miller is going to talk to you about those praises and blames and having you think about what they might be praised for and what they might be blamed for.
All right, when it comes to the hot question, guys, you're going to like this one. This one's a little different because it's bullet points. It's not necessarily writing full sentences. So I imagine you will appreciate that change. Not that they're always going to be like that. All right, mostly 99% of the time it's going to be writing sentences. But for this one, it's a little different, using bullet points. All right, using the graphic organizer below, list 3 things that a pharaoh in ancient Egypt might be praised for and 3 things that they might be blamed for. Think about good and bad events, both natural and man-made, that might affect an entire country. All right, I really don't want to, in my little speech here, give you examples, but really focus on that part that says both natural and man-made. What could happen at any point that the pharaoh could receive praise for, or that he could receive blame for, he or she, because man or woman, could receive blame for. Natural, think about the natural resources of Egypt. All right, what are we focusing on? The geography, the natural resources. Specifically, there's one river you probably should think about. And then for blame, what could go bad? What could happen in nature that might hurt Egypt? Or man-made events, what could be impacting them from other places, all right, other people. Just try to get creative, think about all the good things and bad things that could happen, and obviously the blame, positive or negative, is going to fall on the pharaoh. You always look to the leader when good things happen, but you also look to the leader when bad things happen. So just bullet points, 3 praises and 3 blames. All right, guys, hopefully your minds will be working. You'll be able to come up with some. We look forward to seeing your answers.
Okay, guys. Oh, I gotta bring this camera down. Mr. Miller's just a little bit taller than me. Okay, so we're going to talk about the social hierarchy. This is your social structure or social pyramid. So you need to take a moment in your video notes and you need to fill in this social hierarchy. The gods, I know in this picture it's sort of showing the cloud over to the side. So gods are not in the pyramid, but Pharaoh is at the top. So you need to fill in Pharaoh, priests and nobles, then artisans, merchants, craftsmen, and scribes, farmers and herders, and then unskilled workers and slaves. You can see there is some difference between Egyptian social hierarchy and Mesopotamian social hierarchy. So make sure you fill that in correctly. By 2200 BC, Egypt has about 2 million people. That's a lot of people for ancient time, okay? The upper class lived in elegant homes, that's fancy schmancy homes, and wore fashionable clothes and jewelry. We didn't hear about that in Mesopotamia, but now you're seeing in Egypt. The family was the most important group in Egyptian society. And looky there, ladies, the women finally get some rights. Women had more rights than any other civilizations. Put a star by that, please. This is the first time that we're seeing that women have some say-so. They can own property, they were able to buy and sell goods, and they could serve as priests. And you're going to learn that they're eventually going to serve as Pharaoh. Woo-hoo. Oh, did you see the little Pharaoh wiggle? That was cute. Oh, that's so cute. Look, it's wiggling more. Okay. Okay, now Miss Hodges. Bye, guys.
All right, so we want to talk a little bit about religion. So one of the characteristics of a civilization is that it has an organized or religion that is measurable, that we can mark that, and we've seen that in their artifacts and things that they left behind in their writings. So for the ancient Egyptians, they're going to be still polytheistic. That means they're going to believe in many gods. And across the top there in the picture that has the white background, you can see all the many different types of gods and goddesses that the Egyptians would have had. There are many, many, many of them, including the Pharaoh. He would have been considered a god. He was man and God. We learned that earlier. So he would be included in that as well. So there they are. So the part of their religion required that they had to prepare for an afterlife. So for the pharaohs, a pyramid was built, a tomb, and for the pharaoh. So this is going to be like his graves where they're going to bury him, his tomb. So in that tomb, they would place many objects that they would need for their afterlife. Everything from beds to clothing to dishes, something to drink out of, all of those things would have been there. And there's some pyramids down here at the bottom. You can see them with a small little tiny caravan down there going toward the pyramids. So the religion focused on their afterlife, like we said, and it's considered to be a happy place, a good place where you would go. Both rich and poor would fill their tomb with clothes, food, treasures for their Ka. That's their spirit in the afterlife. So the Ka was part of you now, and it would leave you, and it would be there in the afterlife, kind of almost like a spirit. And you would need all of your earthly possessions and things that you used here. Your Ka is also going to use in the afterlife, and so you would need those things. That's why they went to such great lengths to bury them with the people when they died. So in order to preserve the body so that the Ka could find the body again in the afterlife, they would do a process called embalming. And that's preserving the body. Now, mummification is super, super cool, really, really neat, and a very interesting thing to study. We could spend lots of time on mummification. So if that's something that interests you, there are plenty of videos out there that you can watch on that. And there's also extra reading that's going to be down in the extra readings that you can read to help yourself learn more about it. And we also are going to talk about it more in class. But just the short part of it, a body would be preserved kind of like we do today where people are embalmed. And so that process of preserving the body was something that was practiced, and mostly only the rich got to be embalmed. But everybody would put stuff in their grave to go to the afterlife. But the embalming and that mummification process, preserving the body, would be something reserved for people who could afford that. But just one interesting fact that I think about that I want to mention, because there's so many we could. The ancient Egyptians believed that all decisions were made from your heart, not your brain. So when they were doing the process of mummification, they took extra care, good care, to preserve and protect the heart. The brains they didn't care about. They just didn't preserve those at all. Matter of fact, they removed them from the body and just threw them away. They didn't use them at all. And they weren't saved for purposes later. And we can see in the picture over here on the side, the guy is holding, the guy in the white, all the way over to the left of the screen. He's holding what's considered a canopic jar, and in that would have been part of the body's organs so they could put them back together in the afterlife. So here we go. Here's a picture of the process happening. You can see the canopic jars on the floor. You can see the priest that would have been in charge of that. The body would have been treated. The process took over 70 days, depending on the humidity and what was going on in the area. Then they would be put into a sarcophagus in the back. You can see that behind the priest. And lots of salt, natron was involved doing that. So that was the process for that. And then this was another pyramid that was built. The Sphinx is a type of pyramid or type of tomb, not pyramid, but type of tomb that was built for a pharaoh. And that's pretty much this unit. So good luck. Fill out your notes. Make sure your hot questions are answered solidly. We only have one this time, which was pretty easy. So I'm proud of you for that. Look forward to seeing what you have to say, and we will see you in class. Bye.